So I said, new pod alert. I got some guests.
Pod alert.
Yeah, it's
pod
a new pod
alert.
alert. So I said media is expanding.
Yes, sir.
Getting bigger.
We're getting bigger out here. You know what I'm saying? So I said media will be presenting a new podcast with Sydney and Morgan called
A letter to my homegirls.
That was good stuff. Like that
we
wasn't
didn't
even
practice.
planned.
We
Like,
didn't
that was-
practice.
Off the dome.
We did not.
So tell me
practice.
about like how this happened. Like I know that like, you know, So I Said Media is helping put this together, but like
Right.
the idea was birthed before you came to me, right? So like
Right.
talk to me about like where this came from.
I don't. Well, we originally started thinking about a way to be a voice to women.
Right.
So it was going to be sort of like a retreat space at first, where we hosted events, did a little Instagram marketing, but then me and Morgan said we got to do something else.
We got some stuff to say.
We got some stuff to say. We had a whole lot of great conversations, and we felt like the people needed to hear it.
So was this one of those situations where y'all was on the phone and be like, man, people need to hear what we saying on the phone kind of thing?
Exactly. Like our phone conversations, we be on the phone for like hours, just talking about everything. And it'll just be stuff about like relationships and healing and just practicing like mindfulness, self-esteem, everything that I feel like our society and more specifically women our age need to hear.
I agree. And I think it was more solution oriented. So it wasn't just about like venting about the crap that's going on outside, but coming up with like solutions and different mindsets to help other people. I think that is probably what like made us feel like we needed to let people hear.
Because our culture is lost. So if we could give a
They
little
confused.
solution, a little
Listen, they lost
a little
out here.
a little insight, a little wisdom, because
It's rough.
It's rough out
It's
here in
rough.
the streets.
yeah, they
It's rough.
confused. They confused.
So we've been recording for a little while now, right? And so I've gotten to kind of find your style, and it's not something that I'm used to, right?
Right.
Your energy between the two of you, it is big sister, little sister, but also like coming from different worlds but understanding each other kind of thing. So you got to tell the people like how you met, right? Because they need to know like how this relationship happened.
Yeah, so this is big homie, and I'm mid homie, okay?
You mid
homie.
I'm
Not
mid
little,
homie.
not
Yeah, I ain't
little.
little
Mid
homie. I'm mid
homie.
homie.
She
I'm
not little.
aspiring
Okay.
to be a big homie.
Righteous.
But so what? We met like 7 years ago? I think it's that long ago. Yeah, we
Hey,
worked
y'all known each
together.
other for that long? How come I ain't never met you?
Yeah, 7 years ago.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Because I was
Full
hiding
dis-
Morgan because you like to steal all my friends.
how could I be still
And then they
friends?
become your friends, and sometimes you just got to keep your friends close.
Yeah, like 6, 7 years ago, because we worked together at the centers. And Sydney was instantly like big homie. Like I would just go to
Yeah,
her
just
and
love
talk to
more.
her, like get advice, talk about life experiences. Obviously Sydney knew she was with me as I was going through like that relationship. So Sydney was there through it all. So and I would just be like, Sydney, yo, like give me some advice, put me on game, because it was rough. It was rough.
And I think for me, it was not just being able to give advice, but a lot of times people, they want you to tell them stuff to make them feel good, but they never apply the things that you say.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an exhausting relationship.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I always appreciate about you. Like, you always kept it a buck. You'd be like, now listen, Morg, I ain't gonna lie to you. This
That was a little wild. But we can come back from it, all right?
Right.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Right.
Okay? We won't harbor on this longer than this next minute. Okay?
Right.
We're going to let it go. But yeah, I definitely appreciate the friendship for sure.
Oh man, like that's the kind of energy that I got to, because normally when I'm doing this with y'all, I'm sitting where Kat's sitting, our producer, trying to like, you know, mix it. And I remember the first time that like we recorded together, right? Which was a couple of months ago. We were all sitting in the room and we're like, oh my God, like
It's a vibe.
how are you doing this right now? Like, I was intrigued, and I'm not easily impressed,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm kind of intellectually arrogant. I ain't gonna lie to you, right? Like, it's
Just a little bit.
just a little bit,
Just a
right?
little
Like
bit.
around the edges, so I'm
Just a
not
little
like impressed often, right? But it helped me see Sydney in a different light, right? Because like she's my younger sister, right?
Right.
And so like she's mid homie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, he done called me mid. No, yeah. All right.
But like, I saw her big homie energy, and I'm like, yo, somebody been out here learning and living life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
get a teacher.
So what are some of the things that we can expect to like hear from y'all? Like, what are some of the topics that you're going to be talking about? Like, give us a little taste.
Definitely we'll be talking about, obviously we'll be talking about relationships, but we have a lot more to say than just relationships. We want to talk about healing, because I think a lot of times if you're not healed as an individual, how do you expect to have a successful relationship with somebody else? So we'll definitely be talking about healing, practicing mindfulness, setting boundaries and what that looks like in relationships and even with yourself.
People don't like boundaries, man.
They don't.
They like to set them, but they don't like to
They don't like to hold them.
Man. Boundaries, because people be feeling like they're going to die on the other side of a boundary, bro.
Yeah. And then a big thing, we just really want to talk about things that I feel like our society kind of just overlooks. Like, everybody is such in a culture of, like, do it for the gram, so to speak. And everybody is so, trying so hard to please others or to make themselves look like a certain image or portray themselves as a certain way, that we're just here to keep it real. Like, that's why I say our society is lost. Like, we have lost our individualism in our society.
Yeah. I agree. I think also, too, like, embracing the imperfection in ourselves. I think, like, society, the world likes you to be perfect, got it all together, everything's okay, but
giving yourself grace.
Get up outside, okay? Like, life is happening. Even though I'm able to encourage somebody else, I could be literally melting in the inside.
Right.
And I think that that's one of the things that we want to convey too, that though my experiences have gotten me to be able to have a different perspective, I'm still experiencing life. And I don't think that's talked about enough. All
right, so tell us about, and I'm saying us because, like, I'm trying to introduce like y'all to like the So I Said media crew, like the family, right? Y'all have your own followings. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are pretty popular on the gram, though you don't do it for the gram.
Right.
The gram do it for you, apparently.
I like that.
So,
I like that.
Do it for you.
Yeah, and so like it's a world that I don't know very well, and you guys have presence there individually, right? And so, like, tell me more about, like, who you guys are individually. And it's weird because, like, Sydney's my sister, so like, you would think, oh, I know her, but, like, yes,
but no.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I try to do that, like, as a big brother. One of the things that, like, I've come to understand is that I shouldn't make the mistake of trapping Sydney where she's always been. Right. And so, like, yes, she's my younger sister, but trapping her in that space is a mistake, and it keeps me from knowing her fully.
Who she truly is.
Yeah. It keeps us from being friends.
Right.
Like, me and Sydney just talked about this recently, like maybe a few months back, where she said something to me about, like, it was some family stuff going on. And she dropped some gems on me. And I was like,
who am I talking to?
I think we friends now. Like, not that I didn't like you before, but I think, I think that we're friends, right? And so, just tell me a little bit about who you are individually. Like, what are you bringing to the people as an individual for this podcast?
Okay. I mean, I can go first. Like you said, I'm Sid. Sydney Jasmine Marie on Instagram, okay, and all of my social media. But I think as far as, like, podcast perspective and my stance, is mindset. So as of late, I did some, like, digging on, like, different definitions, and I really would consider myself, like, a mindset enthusiast. I think there's so much power in shifting your mindset. I mean, it's helped me, and it's changed my life tremendously, just, like, having a desire to do more, be more, wake up feeling better, and changing my outlook on my life. That I think that's probably the angle that I'm bringing through the lens with the podcast. It's just a shift in mindset, a shift in perspective, because change your mind, change your life.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Morgan on Instagram at Miss Mo Marie. But for me, so I started a brand called Be More. And then I also have a blog called livetobemore.com. So the whole concept of me starting Be More, I, as a kid, young adult, teenager, I struggled with self-esteem. And obviously because I had certain issues that I was dealing with internally that correlated to a lot of my relationships, and overall just reflected how I presented myself to the world. So I wanted to create a platform to where I do believe that there's power in transparency and there's power in spreading your story. So one thing that I wanted to make sure that I did is through my blog and essentially through this podcast, I wanted to make sure that I highlighted topics relating to self-esteem, self-confidence, maybe some of the like mental struggles that we may go through, like anxiety, depression, because all that stuff is real. And I mainly just wanted to be a voice for young girls and young women because I didn't have that. And I feel like if I had that voice, while I'm not regretful for anything that I did, but if I had that voice, a lot of things would have been differently. So, like, how you my big homie, I essentially just want to be a big homie for somebody else. And if I can empower someone through my own experiences and my own story, then I feel accomplished on this earth.
We love to hear it.
Yeah.
We love it.
Listen, I'm incredibly excited. I think that when we started, So I Said Media, we didn't have an eye to starting to like produce podcasts immediately. It was really just like the So I Said pod, right? And we was gonna do some other media stuff. But I am grateful that you guys are allowing us to help you carry this baby. Right, to do what it needs to do for the people it need to do it for.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to share with the people about like the pod? I know it's coming and coming soon. It's gonna be a hot summer.
It is. It's going to be a hot summer. Okay?
It is. Muy caliente.
More caliente.
You know.
It's giving spicy. It's giving spicy for
spicy.
sure.
Giving spicy. Just be prepared. I mean, tell a friend, and tell all your friends.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And one thing too is just because we are both women, it's not just a women forward podcast. I think that that's also something that I want to like put emphasis on because it's not about we know everything women, we do everything right and men are just trash, because that's not the thing.
And that's what I want to say. We are not male bashing at all on this podcast. We do want, obviously our target audience is women, but we do want to share insight on the male perspective because I believe that's important if we're truly talking about relationships and healing and what all of that looks like.
I agree.
So stay tuned. The Letter to the Homegirls.
So you'll get to see some of that because we're gonna record a few more episodes to like give people a taste and you know, y'all gonna lead it and I'm gonna be like a guest almost. You know what I'm saying? So like stay tuned. This is all we got for this one. This has been So I Said. We just did, and I'm out.